Hey guys, it's not going to be any fancy editing tonight on this video. I'm just going to do a direct upload, and just bear with me. I got to put my ring light on so we can get the best color as possible. So sometimes I just have to wait until the camera is on, and that way I can make sure that it comes on, because it kind of hides the numbers, so I can't tell sometimes if it's really recording or not. So pardon me. Okay, so just have to wait and set it up when I get on here to try to figure out the best lighting conditions. Okay, so today I filmed a video. You want to know what I'm smoking? I'm smoking some Bali High cigars with, I took all of them out so I don't have to go inside the box. So I put some CBD marijuana oil on them. And my daughter is asleep all the way at the other end of the trailer, and she can't get affected with this smoke. Okay. So today I filmed a video as I was walking to Chevron gas station. And I filmed a video talking about 2009 when I got hit by a pickup truck and I was in a wheelchair for 10 months. I had 3 surgeries. I had a metal plate in my leg and 10 screws. And I am now walking currently. In case you come across this video and you actually don't know if I'm still in a wheelchair or not. I haven't been in a wheelchair since 2009. It is currently the year 2020. If you might be watching this in the future, Well, just to give you a little background, in 2009, I was hit by a pickup truck at Walmart in Jacksonville, Florida. Okay, so I had 2 surgeries to put my left leg back together. They had to put a metal titanium plate into my leg like that so they could put the bone back together straight like that. So it was 2 metal plates going like that with 2 big long screws going in that direction to hold them together, and they put 10 screws around my ankle to put my ankle back together. Okay. So anyway, I was in a wheelchair for 10 months after that, and then in 2014 I was able to get the metal plate removed from my leg. So I'll tell you, the first 2 emergency surgeries in Jacksonville, Florida were very successful. And I didn't have any complications. I didn't lose my leg. My leg is fine. I am walking. I am no longer in a wheelchair at this point. Okay. Want to hear the story about how the accident happened? Then you can go to my video that I've just recorded today around 4 o'clock, and you can see, what exactly happened if you weren't on my channel back in 2009. Or it's, some people have been on my channel since 2008. So let me tell you guys, the reason why I brought this up is because I did a live stream a couple of nights ago, and some people were telling me that they've been on here since I was in a wheelchair. Okay. So if you think that it's a lie, no. There's people out there that remember me when I was in a wheelchair, baby. So don't think that it's just a lie. Okay, I really was in a wheelchair for 10 long months. Okay, so anyway, so what I wanted to talk about, the topic today is not just about being in a wheelchair, but being alone when you really would benefit from having loved ones around you. Okay. So what happened was, okay, let me put this to my relatives that do know me. This isn't by no means complaining about my relatives. This is not a complaint or a gripe. Let me put this disclaimer out here. I'm not angry at anyone. I'm not mad at anyone. I'm not frustrated with anyone. I'm not irritated by anyone in my family because of this episode that I'm about to describe. This is just to share with people that might be alone when they are in a very bad time and they really feel lonely and they really feel like they need somebody to be with them. Well, I really am kind of a loner type chick anyway. I like being alone. But this particular time, I really would have benefited from having somebody that was close to me to be with me when I went to have my metal plate and screws removed from my leg. Okay. It was a very lonely feeling. It was a very scary feeling. I had a very terrible time on the third surgery because I didn't have anyone with me that day. Okay, so the surgery was around at 6 o'clock in the morning because they had a lot of surgeries planned that day. So what happened was, at this particular hospital, they were doing bone surgeries. Okay, so what happened was, you go to the surgery hospital. It was a big hospital, a very world-class hospital with a big name. I'm not going to tell you that name of that hospital because I don't want somebody trying to gain access to any of my documents, trying to verify my story. Okay. So what happened was, it was very high tech, and what happened was, you had to go into the hospital, and then you signed in, and they gave you this little thing, like a beeper thing, that you were supposed to give to your family. The beeper thing had a number on it, which was going to show your number on the monitor in the waiting room, and they could follow the progress of your surgery, like whether the surgical room was being prepped, when you had been wheeled into the surgery, when you got your anesthesia, when they started performing the actual surgery, how much time was left on the surgery, and when you were going to be finished with your surgical procedure. So I get there, and the lady, she's like, hi, how many people are in your party? How many loved ones do you have with you? And it felt so sad and so lonely for me to say, I'm sorry, I have no one. And then she just took the beeper back, the little round beeper thing. She took it back, and I felt alone. It was the first time in my life that I really felt kind of sad for being alone. It was just a very bad feeling that I had because I was alone. And then when I looked inside the waiting room, there was people that were getting ready to go into their surgery, and they would have, people standing around them praying, which I'm not a religious person. I'm an atheist. I hate religion. I hate prayer. So no offense to my cousin G at all. He loves religion, but I don't. So it's not like I wanted the prayer groups around me, but it was just that you could tell that they were in love with their relative, and they were really concerned about the surgery, and everybody was rallying around these certain individuals, and they had loved ones with them, and they had people that was hugging them and people that was holding their hands, and I was just in there alone. I was the only one that did not have a loving family unit to be with me. And I promise you, if you are sitting there and you are alone and you're about to go into surgery and everybody else is rallying around and they got friends and family, and you will feel fucking alone. And it is going to be a horrible feeling because you're just looking around and there's no TV or anything. And you can't take, I don't remember if I had my cell phone, but it was just like, the only thing that was on was the monitor showing the progress. We were the first group to get ready to go into the different surgical procedures. Okay, so I get in there. It was the surgery was good, but the human components of what was going to happen was going to be very bad. Okay, so I get into the surgical room. And they tell me, take off your clothes and we're going to take all your stuff from you. And they did that, and everything was moving like super fast because they had a lot of people that was going to be having surgeries later on in the day. So we were the first group to, so everybody was just like in these little tiny little areas where you just had a sheet, and it was just a sheet, and then next to you was a sheet, and then next was, you know, like a curtain or whatever you want to call these things. It was a curtain here, a curtain there, and a curtain there. So it was not like you had your private room. You were basically in a large room, and everybody was just, that person next to me was disrobing, that person on that side of me was disrobing, and everybody else was disrobing all the way. So it was about 10 people, and we were all disrobing around the same time. But they were going to do their thing, and I was going to do my thing. So obviously, but it was like a fucking rush. Okay, so they take my clothes and my cell phone. I don't recall if I had one or not. But what happened was, okay, so then the anesthesiologist comes in. He shakes my hand and tells me that he was the head anesthesiologist, and he was going to take good care of me. He was going to put me to sleep. He started asking me what type of anesthesia I wanted. Did I want twilight? Did I want such and such? Did I want such and such? I told him, you know what? I want to be partially awake. I said, I want something that would keep me partially awake through the procedure. He said, okay, I will do that. And he was like, okay, we'll do this type of anesthesia. It's going to be 3 of us. We're going to monitor you. You're going to get out of this safely, and we're going to take care of you. Okay, so I was happy with that. Okay, because I was so scared. I didn't want to go completely asleep. I had already been through that, and it was fine, but that's the most dangerous of dangerous. So obviously, yeah, it's very dangerous for you to go under. So, you know, because they got to make sure that your heart stays beating. They got to make sure you're still breathing. And it's always very dangerous to go into the deepest anesthesia. So I chose the lightest anesthesia. Okay, so what happened was, next thing, the pain management nurse came in, and he was like, do you want me to paralyze your left leg so that you won't feel anything? Because if you pick the lightest anesthesia and we're dealing with bone, it's going to be extremely painful. So if I paralyze your left leg and you won't feel anything from your hip down, you won't need any pain medications when you leave from the hospital. So you can just, you know, be paralyzed from your hip down on your left leg. You are going to be in a walking cast and until your holes in your legs heal up, in your left leg heal up. Not legs, plural, just leg. Okay, so after that, I told him yes, and he proceeded to get everything, and he just proceeded to numb my leg, and he numbed it with a very long needle that was about that long, and he stuck it into a nerve, and he said it was going to be very painful when we stick it in, but after that, you won't feel a thing for 2 weeks. Okay. So, okay, I was cool with that. Okay, so next thing I know, the surgeon, they wheel me into another room, and the surgeon comes in, and he is very angry, and he is basically going off on everyone. Somebody forgot to do something, and he is screaming, saying, you better get this done. I told you to do it this way or that way. And he is very mad at whoever the fuck. So then he looks at my anesthesia type selection. He starts screaming at the anesthesiologist, and he was like, no, that is not going to work. We're dealing with the bone, and we're dealing with the leg bone. It's going to be very painful. Don't you ever give somebody I think it was twilight. Pardon me if I'm wrong. I can't remember which one it was. He was like, you are not to give somebody that light level of anesthesia. She needs to be completely under. She needs to be completely under. Don't you ever do that again. Don't ever let anybody make that type of selection when we're dealing with a bone. I have to actually unscrew screws from her leg, and she would feel every bit of that, even with her nerve paralyzed. He was like, don't you ever do that. Don't you ever do that. You could have made a big mistake in that surgical room. And he was just screaming at the anesthesiologist. So I knew that I was going to go completely under. So this other nurse comes running in. So she was like, here, I got to give you something to make you a little woozy. Don't worry, you're going to feel like you're on the beach on Cancun. It's going to make you feel like you're a little bit tipsy. It's going to feel like you drank 2 margaritas. So I'm going to give you this to calm you down, because I was really scared. And, and everything was the surgeon was mad. He was the head surgeon. He was the only head surgeon. He was the only surgeon that was going to be in there. And he was just like, at this person, blah, 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 blah. What did you give her? Blah, blah, blah. And he was at that person, blah, blah, blah. Don't do that. Don't do that. At that person, blah, blah, blah. Don't do this. Don't do that. And he was just yelling at every person. That he had a problem with every person that was on his team. So I was really fucking terrified, because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is, really hectic. So the nurse gives me the little shot of that was going to make me feel like I had a few margaritas on the beach of Cancun. She gave that to me, and actually I was chuckling and laughing at that point after she gave me that, and I was just like, talking shit, and I just started joking and laughing with the people, and the nurse that gave it to me, she was cracking jokes, and my head was going like this, and I'm just laughing with her, and my eyes are rolling into the back of my head, and I'm like that. And so then finally we get into the surgical room where the surgery is about to take place. And they said, okay, you're about to go completely under. I'm going to put this thing over your face. You're going to take 3 deep breaths, and you're going to be in La La Land. And you're not going to remember anything. You're going to be completely asleep. You're going to have amnesia. You're not going to remember a thing. From after you take that 3rd breath, you're not going to remember anything. So he put that over my mouth and my nose. I took 3 deep breaths, and I was out. I don't remember anything from that point on. So I was like, okay, so they finished the surgery. The surgeon, my leg was wrapped up. I made sure every time I have a surgery, I touch my leg and make sure it's all there. Ain't no amputations going on. I wasn't an amputee. I had my full leg. I was happy as fuck. I was very, very happy. Ain't no fuck ups happen. Ain't no trip ups happen. My leg was whole. My foot was whole. Everything was intact. It was all bandaged up like a Egyptian mummy. I was happy as fuck. I was just so thrilled. I was happy, happy, happy. So I was so sleepy. I was so fucking sleepy. So I had a weird dream, and it was about some cereal. It wasn't a nightmare. It was just a weird dream. So I just jumped up and I said, I don't want any Fruity Pebbles. I don't want any goddamn Fruity Pebbles. It was a strange dream about some cereal. So I started screaming, I don't want any Fruity Pebbles. I don't want any Fruity Pebbles. And then the nurse ran up to me and she was like, is everything okay? And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, because I was so embarrassed that I was screaming about this Fruity Pebbles, and it didn't have anything to do with anything that was happening. And I was just basically tripping off of a weird-ass dream about some motherfucking Fruity Pebbles. It's something that just was creepy. Wasn't a nightmare, just a creepy-ass dream about some cereal. And one day I'll tell you something about some fucking cereal. Okay, so anyway. I'm thinking I'll save this one until my next video. Okay, because I'm going to film Lion Puss Skincare, a little video after this one if I still got space on my phone. Okay, so next thing I know, about 10 minutes later, the nurse comes back with my clothes. I'm like this. My head spinning. I'm trying to sleep, trying to nod off. Okay, so she comes back and she says, you need to call you a ride because you got to go. And I was like, excuse me? I said, I'm still sleepy. I still feel like I'm under anesthesia. What? How am I supposed to get out of here? She said, I don't know, but you have to go. It made me feel like, have you ever been in a nightclub where they say, okay, lights on, you don't have to go home, but you got to get the fuck out of here? Well, it was like her attitude was like, I don't care what you got to do, but you got to get the fuck on up out of here. She didn't say it like that, but it was like I had to get out. Now, do you know, I was probably laying down for only maybe 30 minutes to 45 minutes. If you have ever had surgery, you know that after surgery, you're supposed to lay down for a long time. Well, I must have had my cell phone because I called a relative to come and pick me up. So I was like, okay, but I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so rude. And I could barely, my leg was paralyzed. I was in a walking cast. I was in a wheelchair again at that point because I was so, like that. I was like, eyes rolling the back of my head and slurring my words and, having strange dreams. And it was just not time for me to go. I just needed some more time. So I said, are you sure? Because before I had got my clothes on, I'm like, can I just lay down for a little bit? Because I'm still feeling so woozy over the anesthesia. She was like, no, you got to go. Okay, where this was? Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. Actually, it was cold where I was. It wasn't in Florida where I had the surgery. I'm going to save this one for my next one. Okay, for my next video. Okay, so actually, let me think. Yeah, I'll save it for my next video. Okay, so I feel like smoking it now, but it's going to be a subject matter about smoking and glutathione, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to save it for this is my last one, so I'm going to save it for the next one. Okay, so anyway, so I call my relative. Please come pick me up. Okay, I didn't speak to the person that was actually on their way to pick me up, but they said, I'll have somebody, so-and-so come pick you up. Okay, so I'm sitting there, and the nurse actually wheels me out the fucking hospital to where the revolving doors are. There's a set of doors, and then there's revolving doors. Well, I'm in a wheelchair, and I'm just sitting there waiting. Every time somebody would come in, the cold air would blow on me, and it was painful air in my face, and it was just because I'm very sensitive to the cold. That's why I love Florida so much, because it's hot, and I'm very sensitive to cold. I can't stand cold. Well, I was being blasted with cold, and I was just so uncomfortable. I was so sleepy. I was just, my leg was paralyzed. I couldn't feel anything. I just wanted to get into a bed so I could sleep. Well, I'm sitting there waiting for about 15 or 20 minutes. Finally, I call the relative. They said, oh, actually, the person said they couldn't find where you were. They couldn't find parking. So they got into a fight with somebody working at a parking lot, and they just drove back home. And I'm sorry, you're going to have to try to call you a cab now. I'll call you a cab for you, but, he can't come pick you up right now because he got into a fight with somebody at the parking lot, and he didn't want the police to come pick him up. So I'm sorry, but you're going to have to get you a cab. I was like, oh, shit, now I got to wait for a cab. So finally, this is before Lyft and Uber. This is in 2014. So I get the cab. I was scared because I'm like, I don't want to fall asleep in the back of a cab, and this man could just rape me or kill me or something and say he never had me. So I was doing my best to stay awake. I was like this, and I was trying to open my eyes, and, the cab was rocking like that and rolling, and I was like, stay awake. I kept telling myself, stay awake. So I kept on getting ready to nod off. So I get to the house where I was staying with these relatives, and I was just happy to be home. I mean, that's where I was staying at that time, and that was quote unquote home for me at that time. But it was a very horrible it was a horrible experience. I was happy that I was able to walk again, and thank goodness the metal plate is out of my leg. But the moral of the story is sometimes it sucks to be alone. Sometimes you need people and they're not there for you. And this is not in no way to throw shade at my relatives. This is in no way to badmouth my relatives. But they honestly just was like, because it was two close relatives that I was staying with, and they were just like, pretty much like, whatever, you'll be fine. That was their attitude. Like, one of them just didn't want to go, and the other one, I don't have that close a relationship with him, and he was just like, not even talking to me about it or anything. And he really didn't care, to be honest with you. He really didn't care. And that's no problem, because that's just how his personality is. And nobody really cared too much. They just figured that I would be fine, and that was that. The only reason why I'm talking about this is because there might be a person that has to go through some hard times, and they really feel alone, and they really feel like, they wish that they had somebody that was close to them, that could love them and take care of them when they really need that person. Honestly, I'm not mad at anybody at all. This is just a story to talk about loneliness when you really need somebody. So yeah, I'm just happy. Honestly, I'm happy that I'm walking. I'm happy that I didn't have any complications. I'm happy that I made it home. The cab driver didn't rape me or, rob me or try to kill me. I'm happy. Okay? I'm happy with the outcome. I think that I'm most angry at the hospital, because they shouldn't be throwing people out on the street right after surgery. They shouldn't be doing that. I didn't have family with me. I was all alone in a wheelchair. So if the only group of people that I was mad at was the hospital, because they really should have let me sleep for a little bit longer, but they didn't. They needed the bed, and you got to go. So yeah, like I said, I'm not mad at anybody. The only people I was mad at is the hospital staff. I'm walking. I didn't get no infections. I wasn't going through pain. It's fine. It's fine, baby. It's fine. Life went on. I'm fine. You see that I'm walking every day to the motherfucking Chevron gas station to go gambling and to buy cigars. You see, life goes on, baby. Life goes on. It ain't shit now. I could look back and say, you know what, that has toughened me up, because if I ever have to go through a hard situation alone, I got strength. See, I got the ability now to talk about some of these old things. Some of the people might have been in the live stream or watched the live stream and be like, what? I wonder what happened with that. I wonder what happened with that. Because they were bringing up some of these people that are fans of my channel that have been around since 2008, when I had my old Florida Power 8 channel. And you might be wondering, if you're new to this channel and just stumbled across me some kind of way, well, I wonder what happened with that. I wonder what happened with that. I wonder what happened with that. Okay, well, I'll tell you some of the old stories that, that was troubling, because actually these old stories are giving me a lot of strength. They are giving me so much strength, and they are giving me so much happiness to replay some of these old times that were very horrible. That was a very rough, tough segment of my life. It was rough and tough. It was scary at times when I was in a wheelchair. It was hard at times. Back in 2009 when I was healing, I was in a lot of pain. So I'm going through something right now with a car accident. I got some financial responsibility record shit that I got to get fixed. But looking back, girl or guy, this little shit that I'm going through right now ain't about nothing. It ain't about nothing. So anyway, guys, stay strong, stay positive, and always keep your head up and keep on smiling, because things will always get better. And then when you go back and you look and you think about some of the old things that were really horrible for you, you can smile. You can smile and say, that's in my past. I survived it, and I'm good. Okay, guys, so stay positive and keep on keeping it on. Keep on keeping on. So yes, guys, life is good, and life got bad times and good times, but life is fun. I'm having a great time. Because life is fun. You just have to take the good with the bad. Okay, it's a fun ride. When you look back, it has been a fun ride, believe it or not. Okay, so if you know me from 2008 or 2009, especially when I was dealing with the deltas, okay, I can look back at that and laugh. So anyway, guys, that's all for tonight. I'm going to do this as a direct upload. It's 11:02, and I got some pizza rolls in the oven. So anyway, I don't want them to burn. So I'm going to film a quick little Lion Plus skincare video. I'm going to do a little bit of editing on the Lion Plus skincare, but this one will be a direct upload. The Lion Plus skincare will not be up until tomorrow. So I'm going to be talking about some skin bleaching because I have been slacking up and neglecting my skincare channel. So I'm going to start doing more skincare videos because in the live stream, everybody was asking about skin bleaching. So I got to start being more active on the Lion Plus skincare channel. I do have the links to the Lion Plus skincare channel on the sidebar of the Florida Pie 08 channel. You can type in Lion Plus skincare, LIONPUSS skincare. Okay, I got two different ones. I got locked out of one Lion Plus skincare account, and so I made another one, and that's why it's two different Lion Plus skincares. But one is very inactive. It's just like a commercial on there for my products that my old products that I used to sell, and the other one is very active. So if you get to one and it hasn't had an upload for 2 years, then you will know that you are at the locked out channel. It is the invalid channel. The one that actually has uploads that are new and current, like today, yesterday, then you know that you're at the active Lion Plus skincare channel. I'm not going to delete because I was able to get into an old computer and find my password for the one that I got locked out on, but I'm not going to use it. But it's cute. It just has a whole bunch of little cats and lions and stuff all over it. So it's just a cute little channel. So I just leave it alone. Okay, so that's all for now. And live fiercely, love viciously, and remember, atheism is unstoppable.